Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we are back with our Sister Wives Rewind, Season 9, Episode 2, Wrestling with Adoption. The big question is, what came first, the events or the title? They're like, oh, Wrestling with Adoption, great. Let's get some wrestling in there.
We've got wrestling, we've got adoption, we've got
it all.
Building a play set.
We've got a haircut.
Kody said, the haircut too. Kody says this is a big week. It's a big week for him. Big. Well, they have to tell the kids that Madison is joining the LDS church.
That's right. That's another big controversy. Yes.
State Hunter is competing in the state wrestling championship.
Yes.
They're building a play set in, I guess, Robyn's yard. I don't know. Robyn always gets everything nice.
Yeah, probably.
And then they have to talk about the adoption of Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna.
Yes. I mean, it's a big week for Kody, but you know what? He needs to focus on being a daddy, not a warrior. That was my favorite line in the entire episode. I need to be a daddy, not a warrior. When were you a warrior?
Yeah. What the hell? That just tells you a lot about how he sees himself.
Yes.
He's not a soft daddy. He's not. He's not loving and kind. He's a warrior. Okay. Robyn told him that.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk to these kids about adoption, you have to be a daddy, not a warrior.
And he's like, oh, but I'm your daddy. Right, Robyn?
And your warrior. Depending on the day.
And your warrior. Yes.
Now, I find this adoption thing so disturbing because, so Robyn's explaining how they need to tell Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, about the divorce and why Kody and Meri got divorced. They need to talk to them about this so that they can put in the paperwork that they want this, that the kids want this.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute. You haven't even talked to them about this yet? You went and you got the legal divorce and you're talking like this is a foregone conclusion and you have not even spoken to these kids about do you want to be adopted?
And these aren't 4, 5, 6-year-olds.
No.
I think if they were all, toddlers, okay, you're not going to have a conversation with them about it. You're going to make the decision. But Dayton's what, 16, 15, 16 at this point?
Not quite that old, but he's like in teen, like 13.
And maybe. Aurora is, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Brianna's these are kids that,
they know what's happening. They know what's going on.
And they would want to know, how do these kids feel about it? No, you're right. It is very manipulative because the whole time, all I was thinking about was her ex. Like, we really don't know. We don't know what the truth is of what happened. Maybe he was abusive. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe all the things she's saying are true. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he obviously cares about his kids. You know, he does. And wow. You know, and just even the way they present it as if, don't you want dad to be your daddy? I'm your daddy now. You know, that kind of thing. It's like, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, she's taken these kids, moved them far away from their father, started a whole new life, started telling them before the wedding, even this, you know, to call Kody daddy. And yeah. And like this man who you've lived with all your life up until now, we're just going to forget about him. And we're, you know, they're trying to terminate his parental rights so that Kody can adopt them. This is serious, you know. And what about the kids' rights to, I mean, okay, they can live with Kody and Robyn and whatever, but why do they have to terminate the parental rights of this guy? It's all because Robyn they want the safety of if something happens to her, you know, they would have a legal, but as I've said before, the kids don't have to go back to their dad if it's not in their best interest. If something happened to Robyn, the Browns could be their guardians.
Yeah.
They don't have to do this. They don't. It's just Robyn wants it. So
yes,
Robyn gets whatever Robyn wants.
Well, but even presenting it to the kids, you know, do you want me to be your dad? Like,
yeah.
I mean, what are the kids supposed to say?
I know.
I don't know. I just, they put him in a real funky spot, this whole thing, but whatever. I mean, listen, Aurora's jumping out of her seat. That one.
I guess she's all for it. Yeah. So they gather. This is also really weird. They gather at Robyn's house. It's Christmas time. The Christmas tree is up. And so Janelle is there, but Janelle doesn't say a word. She just sits in the corner.
Oh, I didn't even know she was there.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird. I was like, why isn't Janelle there? I didn't even
She was there. She was just sitting next to the tree. And then Christine is there, but none of the other kids except for Leon. Leon is there sitting on the couch next to Meri. And so Meri begins to explain what happened.
Meri can't even get through it.
Yeah, she's emotional. She's crying. And Brianna seems very worried about her. She's like, you're crying. And Meri's like, it's okay. It's a happy cry. And it's like, I don't know about that.
Even little Brianna knew it wasn't a happy cry.
No,
even Brianna picked up on the fact that there was something off about this.
Yeah, the kids seem real confused. Like, why are we here? What is happening? And, you know, Meri's awkwardly, and I love it that they put it on Meri to explain all this. You know, she's the one who's got to explain it while Kody and Robyn just sit there, you know, do.
Well, and you know, they sold it to her. You know, Meri, you should be the one to tell the kids because you're really the hero in all of this. So you tell.
Yeah, I know.
Working her every minute.
So manipulative.
Yeah. But one of the things that Robyn said about Aurora is she said, Aurora wants this so bad she can taste it. That is the weirdest thing. I mean, this 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand if she's some kid that's bounced around the system her whole life and finally someone's going to adopt her and isn't this amazing? But Aurora, I'm sorry, this hasn't been your life. Mm-hmm. You have a father and you're surrounded by all these people. They've accepted you into the family.
Yeah. No, it's Robyn wants it so bad she can taste it, you know? So Kody says, would you guys like me to adopt you? And that's when Aurora jumps into his arms and says, yes. And then Brianna says, yes. And then they ask Dayton and he says, yes, sir. And I mean, like, did they practice this? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then is this Christine who says, I have C? Dayton has been thinking about it for a long time.
Yes.
Really? Dayton has been thinking about this for a long time, then why did you need to ask them? If they've been wanting this and
that's a good point.
Wanting it for a long time, why are we having this stupid scene again? It's because it's
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. I thought it more. I took it more as like, because Dayton. This is one of the reasons why I like Dayton and don't really like Aurora. Is Dayton's a thinker, and Dayton, like, if Dayton's going to say yes to something, he really means it. So I get the sense that maybe he just thinks a lot. He's just always thinking about things. But again, this is the part that's hard. Is it's hard to know what is really the truth with her ex. And this whole episode, I kind of felt for the guy. I really did. Because again, if he's abusive, okay, but we don't know. We don't know.
I doubt he's abusive. I mean,
this has always been what Robyn said, and I believe women. You want to believe when people tell you these things, but in the history of watching Robyn, I'm a little skeptical.
Well, and also look at how, the people who watch these shows are all super sleuths. I think that if there was something out there about him, someone had something bad to say, there was a police report, there was something, it would have been unearthed by now.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
And in fact, there's people who are coming to his defense and saying, he's not like this. And this is all just made up. It's Robyn's made up origin story.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and again, Robyn brings up the paperwork, we need to know yes or no for the paperwork. And then Kody says, Meri deserves a big hug.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's been rough for her kids. I just threw her away and married my new wife. And then give her a hug.
Yeah. And then Kody, he kind of like sits back in the chair and he's like, you guys have no idea. It's been quite a process so far. Oh, really? What, a process for who? You, Kody?
Wait. But Kody, this was a shuffling of paperwork, right? This is just paperwork shuffling.
Right.
Right? How could this be so?
What are you talking about?
That you had to go to the courthouse twice, once to get divorced and get back. You had to go back again to get married? That's the process? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, and then
what process are we discussing?
He had to take Meri out to lunch.
Oh, that's right. He's like, oh, God. Can you believe? Sorry, I have a cold. Can you believe I had to take Meri to Hugo Cellar? I cannot remember a thing in my life, but I can remember that they went to Hugo Cellar. Because it is the lamest place to go. Nothing personal to Hugo Cellar. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. But you and your wife just get divorced and she just made this huge sacrifice for you. You're not even going to take her to a place that has cloth napkins?
No, there's not time. There's not time for that. Got to get back to Robyn. She's waiting at home. And then Kody also says that Dayton asked him what I would have named him. And I said, David, because that's his name. That's his legal name. Wow, what a coincidence. David, the name of his real father, the one that are ripping him apart from. Oh, God.
Sorry. I keep having to hit my cough button. I'm laughing so hard and coughing at the same time. That was so weird. Yeah, I remember thinking that, but Dayton, who's this thinker, asks a kind of deep question of like, how do you see me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, David, I guess. I don't know.
Can't even come up with an alternate name.
I mean, it was either that or like Kody Jr.
Or whatever Robyn tells me to
All right. So can we move on to this Solomon's first haircut situation?
Oh, God. And here we are, another installment of the Brown Community Theater Group. I mean,
yes,
people in their fake scenes. It's just getting old.
This is what really bugged me. And there's a point at which we're just a little bit like, we're not dumb, producers, because there's this quote unquote organic conversation about, is it time to cut Solomon's hair? And we'll talk about the scene. But then at the end, oh, I'm sorry, do you just have a hairdresser waiting in the wings at any time for Solomon to get a haircut?
Her apron on. She's ready to go. She's set up.
Okay. The lady's here to cut Solomon's hair. It's time for us to talk about, should we cut Solomon's hair?
Yeah, who was that lady? Was that one of their nannies or?
I don't know. But you know what? You knew it was professional enough because she had like an apron, a smock. I would give him a little bit more if like all of a sudden Janelle's like, okay, here we go. I'm going to cut your hair. And I'm the hair cutter of the family. But no, obviously someone came over. So they had to book time, have her sign a release and do all of this. But
yeah. And then Robyn's like, I need to talk to you about something.
Very important. But, you know, this whole thing with Solomon not cutting his hair and then Kody, because Cody's has his hair issues. And Cody's like talking about, you know, at first I was really resistant and then I stopped being resistant. You know, Robyn and I were so interconnected that we at the same time knew when the lady showed up from the salon, it was time for Solomon to get his hair cut.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and he was trying to say something about what the hair was religious or it has, you know, growing the hair out long. I mean, does that have something to do with religion? I don't know. And
I stopped listening.
Yeah, something about religious dogma. I don't know. Kody went off on some tangent.
I'm so sick of talking about that man's hair. I'm sick of talking about Cody's hair and Solomon's hair because it's not really about Solomon. It's about Kody.
No. And then, you know, after they have this beautiful spiritual interconnected, you know, experience.
Ding dong.
then Cody's like, oh, can we have another baby now? And then Robyn gets all, it's all smiles and it's like, and they seal it with a kiss. So I guess it's happening.
Yeah. Or it's already happened or something. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, yeah, because the producer starts asking her questions about it, timing or what, and she gets kind of giddy and I think she's already pregnant. Something
like that.
Yeah.
But before Robyn can have her next baby, we got to go to Winnemucca. Winnemucca, Nevada. And I will tell you one thing. I wish my son was a little bit more outgoing and like would want to do things. But I am so eternally grateful that he never wanted to play any of these sports because I would have spent every weekend like at some lacrosse tournament.
Driving to some high school out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Every time I hear about these things, I'm like, oh, thank God, because it sounds awful. I mean, you had to do some of it, right? For Layla and the cheerleading a little bit. No? Was that cheerleading?
Well, it was dance. But luckily, the dance studio is, 10 minutes from our house, luckily. But yeah, the cheerleading, I would go to I went to all the games and but luckily, they're all in a reasonable distance. This is an urban area, so you don't have to go far if you go to another school. But yeah, a lot of these kids, they play their high school sport and then they play like the same sport in a club sport. And that's like all over the state, they can be doing.
Oh yeah.
And it is.
And California is a huge state.
Yeah.
And so I know, I hear it from other parents that are telling me like, what did you do this weekend? And they'll tell you like, well, Saturday. And then they're rooting for their kid to lose so they can leave.
So they don't have to come back the next day.
And then they're like, and then I'll hear and they'll go, God, and then they won. And then we had to stay another day and they just kept winning.
Yeah. No, and then if you have multiple kids, it's like, one parent's over here with this kid, and then the other parent has to travel over here with this kid. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am so glad I've never had to go to Winnemucca on a trip.
Well, it's pretty impressive, that Hunter is, 2-time state wrestling champion. And I guess Kody was the state wrestling champion, I think 1 year. Was it Wyoming? Must have been Wyoming. I mean, that's impressive.
It's very impressive. I mean, Hunter's always been an impressive person, like very driven, very
hardworking.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. And so I was obsessed with Janelle's kitchen. They're in the kitchen. Kody and Janelle are talking about who's going to go, who's driving what car. Janelle wants her own car so she can escape if she needs to.
Janelle knows she has a lot of boys. She's like, I know what this is like.
Right.
I got to get out of here.
I need to be able to take a break, get in my car, go get a coffee or something. And so they're talking, but her kitchen is just a mess. She's got like moving boxes on the floor. There's boxes everywhere except for, I don't know, Janelle is.
And how long have they been in those houses?
A couple years, I think. I don't know. I don't know who's moving or what's going on, but Janelle does not. I mean, then this is her son, and she just really seems to not even want to go. Christine is more excited about it than Janelle is.
Yeah. I know. Well, and we're back to the same issue, right? Which is you kind of need someone to be in charge to say, listen, we're taking these 2 cars, pack them up. This is how it is. And yeah, when things are a little too democratic, unfortunately, this is what happens, is there's a lot of this stuff. But is it the end of the world for them to take multiple cars I don't know what the issue is.
Well, it's just that, it's more expensive. It's more gas, I guess that would be the only downside. I guess you're paying for gas for 3 cars instead of 2.
Yeah.
But
anyhow,
I don't know. And Christine has rented a car and she's excited to be driving a car instead of a minivan. So she, anyway,
Christine really needed this. Christine really needed to drive a regular car. That's the sense I get. She's like, Kody has been mean to her, ignoring her for however long. And she's just like, I just want to drive this car.
Well, yeah. And Kody is in his little convertible new sports car with the top down with basically just, it looked like Hunter and Logan in the car, maybe one other kid.
Yeah.
He's not lugging all their stuff and coordinating the little kids. And then, at the last minute, Gwen decides she doesn't want to go and she ends up staying with Robyn, but it sounds like Robyn didn't really want her to stay at her house.
It doesn't sound like it. But I know this one well, which is I think that Christine worked very, very hard to get Gwen in a headspace for her to go to something. And I have to do this a lot with my son. Not so much anymore, but I used to, where I really had to like prep him of like, this is what's going to happen. This is this. And then Kody comes along and says something. And it's just Gwen is like, oh, like something to the effect of, oh, you don't need to come, Gwen. And that was, I think that set her off too. And I've been there. There's a little bit like, shh, this is a delicate ecosystem. Don't say anything to this teenager. Just get him in the car.
Well, is that what set her off? Did Kody say?
Well, something happened where he said something to the effect of her not coming, or, that Gwen never wanted to go because Aurora's not going and she wants to hang out with Aurora. And I think that Christine worked, and that's a lot of emotional bandwidth and energy. And you're kind of like, God, and then one person comes in and just knocks it all down.
Well, Cody's good at that. He's very good at that. So Gwen's not going. And then they have this discussion on the couch about how wrestling is a huge deal in Kody's family. And Christine said she didn't even know anything about wrestling until she met Kody, and she thinks the singlets are weird. And then they start talking about, the singlets and they're calling them onesies. And it is kind of a weird sport.
Yeah,
it's kind of uncomfortable to watch, I think.
Okay, so this is what it is, right? Which is, again, there is a lot of frustration with men where they don't like this idea, like, that I think obviously Cody's mad because he feels like, I think it was Christine that called it a onesie, that he feels like Christine's sort of making it out to be like he's silly and this is dumb. And, 2 men wrestling each other, there's all of this homophobic overtones, right? And this idea of these men, feeling like, no, that's not what this is. But at the same time, when you have 2 women wrestling, that is sexualized. So I'm sorry, 2 people, male, female, I don't care what, if you're rolling around and you're on the floor together, I don't care who's there.
Yeah, with almost no clothes on, and like your head is in the other person's crotch half the time. And I'm sorry, it is. I know it's just weird. It would be uncomfortable for 2 women doing it, for even a man and a woman doing it. It's just weird. Like,
Yeah, I mean, but it is something that that is where your mind's going to go. And
Yeah.
it just always irritated me that men, it was almost kind of like, your mind can't go there because we're two men versus, but you all want to watch women wrestling all the time, like in baby, right? Like, and that's highly sexualized. So how is it that it's okay in this case, it's okay to make it this way?
No, you're right.
Misogyny. All right, let's go.
Always. Yeah, and then this whole thing about the cars and what the guy, Kody basically throws up his hands. He's like, I don't want to have to negotiate every issue. But then Christine points out that the minute Kody got out of it, she and Janelle worked it out.
Yeah.
Kody is the issue.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need negotiating if you weren't there, Kody, because they worked it out quite quickly.
And I think this is the part that probably frustrates them, which is Kody is always, his whole thing has been like, well, I've always been more, democratic. I didn't come in as this, like, I'm the leader of the family and things have to be my way or the highway. I've never been like that with you gals. And I don't do this. I'm more democratic. But the thing is that yet at the same time, what we see on the show is, yes, you do allow people to do that, but then you step in, micromanage, F it all up, and then take this, and then everyone's upset and mad. And then you take this attitude of, oh, okay, well, fine. I just need to be the leader then. I just need to be in charge. And it's like, if you're going to give the power over to someone, then you can't come in and micromanage and control it and then F it up.
Yeah, I know. I hate people like that who are like, they don't want to be involved, yet they want to micromanage at the same time. And it's like, it's one or the other,
Or coming in when you don't have all the facts. You're like coming on in and talking and getting involved and all that kind of stuff. But again, I think this is what Kody thinks that this is his role, and it never was. Anyway, are we going to talk about the whole thing with this was a theme of this entire episode because it's kind of teeing us up for an episode that happens later in the season. About how Madison talking about how she was frustrated, how much dad focuses on the boys and their sports, and how Kody gets all this criticism for fathering, that Kody gets a lot of criticism for having so many children. And then of course, Janelle's like, he's very involved. He's more involved than other fathers and other families. She was like, my father wasn't around.
Yes. I think that's a false equivalency, that what Janelle said, because, and then, is it Janelle? Yeah, she says people get mad because Kody has 17 children. And then she says, but there's 5 adults. And it's like, okay, but there's only one dad.
Yeah.
And kids need their dad. It's a different dynamic. It's a different thing. You can't make up for it just because you have 4 moms. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
He's one person. They all need a dad. And like you said, Madison notices, because when she was younger, there were less kids. And let's be honest, like Robyn has now brought 4 more kids into the equation, which is even less time. Now Kody has even less time. And as his kids get older, he kind of naturally thinks they don't need as much attention. And so, Madison used to have a lot more time with her dad, and he would take her and the other girls, out on these dates, which were, just basically going out for ice cream or going for a ride somewhere. And yet it makes a difference. And so it pissed me off when Janelle just kind of dismisses that. Like, oh, no, there's not enough of Kody to go around.
Yeah.
And he focuses on the boys. Yeah, the wrestling stuff. He spends more time with and he admits it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fanfellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fanfellas wherever you get your podcasts.
I think, what's interesting, this whole thing about him spending more time with the girls, I don't, this is not him at all. This is all Robyn. This is all Robyn because she is too young.
Yeah.
Girls.
It's like her girl. Now all of a sudden she's concerned about the girls. She's really concerned about her girls because the older girls are off to college, or they're gone, right? At this point. Madison, Aspen. I don't know if McKelty. Anyway, yeah. So now all of a sudden Robyn's concerned.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my notes. I'm like, God, so much happens.
I know.
This goddamn episode.
It's a busy episode. Busy episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're at the state wrestling tournament. And I love this. They're such poor planners. They got in at 1:30 or 2 a.m.
Yes.
And then Hunter has to get up and wrestle the next day. Like, how many hours of sleep did he get? That's your whole point of being here. And you couldn't get here early enough so people could go to bed at a reasonable hour?
Because they were fighting about the car situation or something else, or they got a slow start, or...
Well, as always, yeah.
The only thing I really wrote down about the wrestling tournament was my favorite moment, which was Savannah going, Hunter!
I know, we never even hear her.
She's like, called out, Hunter!
Yeah, we never even hear her voice,
Yeah,
it's like,
so cute.
Who was that? Yeah, so Hunter won. He's the three-time state champion.
Very
exciting. Kody was mentioning that, there were college scouts there or whatever. So I wonder if that had anything to do with his, where he went to college, or
if he got a scholarship. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he went to graduate school on the East Coast. I don't know if he went to, because he went to like Johns Hopkins. I don't know where he went to undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, it must be smart.
Good for him.
All right, what's next? Oh, is this the play set?
A play set arrives. He said, I thought Kody said, mom and dad, or my mom and dad. I don't know who purchased this. It seemed like it was a gift from his parents, maybe.
My dad and Janelle's mom.
Right.
Your parents, your grandparents. Now, they give Gabe a very important job, which is to gather all the nails. And Gabe's pissed. And then we get to this this really bugged me. So we get to this new sort of couch segment of a conversation about raising kids in plural marriage. Is it, what's the fear? What's the concern? And they're all talking about there was these concerns, and back to there's a lot of pressure on Kody, there's a lot of kids, blah, blah, blah. And then Robyn says something to the effect of, I too, really wondered about raising kids in plural marriage. But, when I see our older kids and how well they turned out, it really gives me a lot of confidence. Okay, number one, what do you mean you always wondered about raising your kids in plural marriage? You, from the beginning of the show, have talked about how you've never questioned this.
Yeah, and
this is your faith.
And that she came from a plural marriage.
Yeah.
They were, even though she was the only wife, they were living plural marriage, and she knew everything about it. She schooled us all about it.
So you're now telling us you're having questions about it? Because you've never, ever, ever told us you questioned it ever before.
Now she's saying she was questioning it when she joined the Brown family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, weren't you already doing that? Like, what are you talking about?
And that's like a very classic chronic liar sort of thing. Is anybody that chronically lies and makes up stories, this is what they do. Whatever the sentiment is, whatever is popular, whatever will make you seem like you will get what you need or the attention, you're going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing that it just bugs me so much. Like, God, have an opinion and stand behind it. Be you, be authentic. And then this other part, and if I was Janelle and Christine and Meri, I'd be pissed. Our older kids, I'm sorry, what did you have to do with any of this?
Nothing.
Not one iota. I'm sorry. You cannot take any credit for any of these older kids. Daddy Logan, no. Hunter, no. Maddie, no. And I would be pissed if I was one of those parents.
Yeah. She wasn't around in the difficult years raising them. God, she's really something else.
But this is what I'm wondering is what is happening? Like, is Janelle just tuning this all out? My sense is that she says these things. I think Christine knows they feel wrong, but everyone's making her feel crazy. So she feels like she can't say it. I think Janelle is detached as hell.
Oh, yeah.
And knows that it wasn't right, but doesn't care. And I think Meri believed it, I think Meri wanted to believe it to be, even though it didn't feel right.
Yeah, because, I mean, Christine gets so much pressure, to accept Robyn and be nice to Robyn. So she can't question anything Robyn says.
Yeah.
And Janelle doesn't give a shit. And Meri is also trying to please Kody by being nice to Robyn.
Yeah.
Because she's
sure it was on that list of things she had to do.
Exactly. So nobody, he's set it up so basically nobody can question Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if afterwards, like Christine and Janelle get together and they're like, can you believe what she said? Or they just like let it go.
I really hope that Christine does not take the high road in her book. Please, Christine, be petty. Be as petty as you can. We're all for it.
We want to know it all.
Everybody wants to know all, like, even if you want to make this more high level, like you need to have just a chapter of the bullshit. Like just tell us all the petty shit so we can know and find out. And that's when Christine says that she tends to be really hard on Kody for his parenting style. And I think part of that is, again, she's being told that she's being hard on him. Because I'm sure she feels like he is not spending enough time with her or her kids. And also don't forget, she has 5 girls.
Yeah.
And so, and Janelle has 4 boys. Like because Kody has more of this interest, like, that does change these dynamics. I bet you anything he is more involved with Janelle's kids.
Oh yeah. He admits it.
And paying attention because of that.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of it. It's just, God, just gaslighting poor Christine.
Yeah. I mean, she feels she's being hard on him for what? For wanting him to spend time with his kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the play set's done. And I guess Truly's the first one that gets to go down the slide. And did you see who was helping her get up on the slide and pushing her down?
Logan.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Logan, there was so much going on this episode. Logan had to come home because there was just so much activity. Well, sure, he came home because he wanted to see Hunter wrestle, but they made him stay for this swing set thing, which I'm sure he probably put the majority of it together.
Oh, no. Kody called him at the beginning of the week and said, I have a big week, son, a big week of parenting. You know how that is, right? Because you also are a parent.
Right.
I have a big week of parenting and I need you to tap in.
I need all hands on deck here. We've got so much to do.
And Logan's like, okay, fine. I'll come home. I'll go to Hunter's thing and then I'll help you with the play set.
Yeah.
And then I'm leaving.
Robyn kind of gives this lecture about how he needs to treat the younger girls or because he doesn't know. He's asking her, like, well, what do I do? How do I connect with them? You know? And I just wrote down, just fucking talk to them. He needs instructions.
Yeah.
How to be around them and what to do. And that's, they have to set up, I think it's in, like you said, in a couple more episodes or something, they set up this trip where he takes all the girls on a trip to California.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. That's extreme. Just go over to their house every day and talk to them. Say, hey, do you want to go to the store with me? You know, do you want to, go here? It doesn't have to be some elaborate thing. I can't believe this man.
No, I was just thinking about our own father, who's not, our own father who is not the most in touch with his feelings. Like Dad kind of knew what to do. And the other thing too is Dad would take me out. We would play basketball, like horse or whatever. Like the girls can play sports too, Kody. Yeah, they too can do that.
They like sports. Yeah, I mean, we always hung out with Dad and just did whatever, just silly, goofy stuff. Just hang out with him. God.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I can't. I mean, this is just beyond that. Kody has to be told what to do. Robyn is, leading the charge because, again, she's, who she's really concerned about? Her younger daughters.
Yeah. Because
they make a point that their 4 oldest daughters were not there to put the playset together. They're off doing their own thing. It's like almost like, well, it's too late. It's too late to connect with them.
Just don't worry about Aspen and Maddie. Just let it go. Forget about them.
Oh gosh.
Lord.
Yeah, right. Mr. Father of the Year here.
So then we go. Now we have a new topic.
Yes.
A new issue. We're at Janelle's house and they have to sit everyone down because Maddie's being baptized into the Mormon church. And he needs to tell all of the younger kids about what's happening.
And Maddie's not even there. Why are they doing this when she's not even there to explain what's happening?
Yeah. I mean, unless Maddie regularly calls home and tells everyone, I'm part of the LDS church and let me tell you all the things about it. I don't believe that Maddie's calling Gwen and telling her about the LDS church. So why do you need to tell them about it right now?
Well, yeah. And Gwen says, wasn't she already baptized?
Yeah. Gwen asks a series of very smart, intelligent questions that not one adult had thought through. Not one adult thought through that maybe this would be a question someone would ask us.
Yeah. She says, I thought we were already in that church. And then Kody, Mr. Leader of the family, priest of the family, turns to Christine and says, well, Mother. Like blaming Christine because Gwen doesn't understand what's happening. And it's like, dude, you're supposed to be the priest. You're the father. If Gwen doesn't understand what's going on, that's on you.
Yeah.
Not on Christine. Christine, I'm sure, talks about it. She came from that. She came from that religion. I mean, Jesus, Kody is just really getting to me this week.
But but it is, these questions are intelligent questions. Why does she have to be rebaptized? And then we're back to the same issue, which is like, they don't recognize our church. So basically the LDS doesn't see that she's LDS, essentially.
And don't they eventually tell her that she can't get baptized because she would have to basically break ties with her family?
Yes.
So this is all for naught. I mean,
yeah. And that's the thing. And you wonder why these kids don't always believe you when you sit down and talk to them about stuff. Like, wait till Maddie's in it and doing it, and then you can mention it. But yeah, this whole thing, like nobody prepared for it. No one knew what was going on. And then we have to go back to the whole Christine. She's worried about it because of everything she went through with her child, and Janelle and Kody are like, wow, this is kind of confusing for our children, isn't this? And then Kody says, no, I'm questioning Maddie's decision. You've got to be kidding
After
me.
You set up this whole meeting. And again, I feel like Robyn is in on this because she's the one who's making the biggest deal about it. She's like, well, you realize that, you guys realize that Maddie won't be in our church anymore, right? What do you think about that? She's really poking the bear here about this.
Yeah, our church, which happens in our living room, mind you.
Right.
Like
our church.
Will Maddie be accepted into the living room, the Kody Brown living room church services?
What is Maddie going to do while everyone's in the living room? I guess she'll just have to stay in her room.
And quite frankly, if I was Maddie, I think I too would join the LDS church just to not have to attend those meetings.
Yeah. So yeah, guess what, guys? It never happens because you guys are on this TV show telling everyone about your weird religion and no one wants to be associated with you.
Well, and I think Christine kind of hit it. It was Christine who said that Maddie reacts quickly. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little with her. And that's why it's so crazy that they want to talk about this stuff, which is she's on the campus. Some person rolls around, says, hey, you want to join this church? Yeah, okay, I'll go check it out. I mean, she's in college. You're going to go check out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Even if they let her in, I wonder if she would have even stayed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like she was going through a bit of a phase. Like she was trying to figure some stuff out. And then, but the reaction to everything, it's so dramatic and big. And then it's too much. They either overreact or underreact to things.
Exactly.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah. It's just like, when I went to college, I came home, after the first quarter that fall. It was the election of 19. Maybe it was, I don't know. Anyway, I came home. I had registered to vote as a Republican.
Yes, I know. Our parents were mortified.
They were mortified.
Who was more? Mom was mom more mortified than dad?
I think so, or at least she showed it more.
I remember this, and because I remember this because you said, "Well, I thought about it, and you really made at 18 made a very educated decision. You looked at both sides and all of that." But I, of course, was living with mom at the time, and all mom could talk about was she's a Republican. She's a Republican. This was the worst thing ever to happen. And I'm like, oh my God.
I know. And truth be told, probably just like Maddie, I didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Our parents were very, political people, but I didn't really know much about the different political parties. I was 17 when I went to college. I really I didn't know. And the main reason I registered Republican was because there was this girl in my sorority. She was I think she was the president, or she ended up being the president the next year, who I idolized. Mm-hmm. And she was a Republican. And literally that's why I did it. Because it was they have the people on campus register to vote, and that you have to pick a party. And I was just like, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so's a Republican and she's cool. And it's okay. I figured it out. By the time the 1988 election rolled around, I figured it out. I changed, I did not vote for George W. Bush. Who was
the first one? No, George. That was George H.
George H.W. Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. I voted for
that old
Mondale or Dukakis, whoever it was, whatever loser was running that year.
Yeah. Well, and again, this comes back to the same thing, which is one better than the other? And it isn't. One isn't better than the other. One isn't superior to one. I mean, that's the whole point about it. It's it's just where you believe in. Now, I'm not going to get too political, but the world, everything's changed a lot. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the old Republican Party.
Yeah. The Bush.
I'm talking about the Reagan Bush Republican
era.
Party. When politics were a bit different.
Yeah, very different. But anyway, my point is, first year college students do a lot of exploring and, irrational things, trying things out. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just exploring and figuring things out. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize mom was that upset about it. But
she was, well, this is the other part of it too, which I think young people, but only Gen Xers would know this, is that, don't forget, we grew up in a time where the phone was out. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of privacy. Mm-hmm. When you had phone calls and the phone was out in the living room, and mom, like me, is a little loud, and I'm sure I could shut my door and not hear, but she was always talking on the phone to people. Mm-hmm. So, every single friend, she was like, oh my God, I have to tell you, this travesty happened in my life.
Yes, okay. Yes. Well, I righted the ship.
Yes. But we don't have much more time for this discussion. We need to talk about serving the bio dad.
Yes.
Now, Brooke, this is where I know I know you don't understand Montana or Nevada laws. But what do you think's going on here with Robyn and wanting to file in Montana?
Well, I think she's trying to make herself look reasonable by filing it in his jurisdiction so that, if he wants to go to court or do anything, she's making it easier for him. She's trying to look reasonable. Like, she doesn't want it to be like, oh, well, you filed in another state and I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it there to get there to fight this. And, so, I think what she's saying is valid and reasonable.
And I can understand if she feels like the judges in Montana aren't biased to polygamists. I can understand that one. Like you don't want to go in there already feeling like they're prejudging me. But basically they have to move the adoption along. Now that we got the kids, yes. To move the adoption along, they need to serve the bio dad. And this is very, very, very important that they have to serve the bio dad. And the dad knows that this is what's happening. So he can never claim that he didn't know what was happening. Right. So Robyn had a lawyer that helped her with her divorce. So they filed in Montana. And so this lawyer apparently has been trying to serve her ex for 4 or 5 weeks and can't get a hold of him. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if he's actively dodging them or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. But, Robyn, she's trying to make it sound like this is a great deal for him because we're going to forgive child support and medical debts, which I think has to do with that TV accident that Dayton was in. There was like a $30,000 medical lien against her house. So, she's trying to make it sound like, oh, we're going to make this easy for him. It's a great deal for him. And we're filing it in Montana so he doesn't have to travel out of state. Although, I don't know how you can do that. You still have to deal with the Nevada courts. That's where the children live. That's where the jurisdiction is. So, I don't think...
that was what threw a wrench into their plans, right? They were bebopping along going to do it this way. And then the judge found out that the kids live in Nevada and was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? That's how I...
Yeah, they would still have to serve him wherever he is. But he would have to come to court in Nevada. The Montana court doesn't have jurisdiction over the kids. So I don't know. This is their way of spinning. This isn't all accurate. They're just spinning it to make it look like, oh, we're being so nice about this termination of parental rights,
Yeah. Well, and so what is the fear around Kody wants to do it in Nevada? Because, Kody doesn't want to have to travel. But also he's worried that her ex, Robyn's ex, will confront the children. And then we hear from Robyn and she says, well, if he fights, it will get really bad for him. It will get really ugly. Like, interesting. It's a pretty damning statement. Like, but you're not going to tell us what it is, what he did. You're just going to tell us it's bad.
Yeah. And, it confronts the kids. I mean... Oh, I don't know. This is just all so disturbing. Like, so he's never talked. Have they ever even talked to him about this? Does he even know this is happening? I don't know.
He might be on vacation. He might not even be around to get it. We don't know. But just in this one episode alone, we've seen Robyn exaggerate the truth, spin things to make it work for her, make herself look good, make other people look bad. So, put 2 and 2 together about this whole thing. Now, I love Savannah yelling Hunter. This was another great moment of this episode. So they're calling, Kody and Robyn are calling the lawyer and Meri's there. So now Meri's back in the process. So now it's like, no, we don't want you to come watch us get married or do any of that fun stuff. But when we have to call the lawyer and have an uncomfortable conversation, why don't you come on over?
Yeah.
And sit here with us. And they sold that to her. It's like, okay, Meri, here, we're moving on with the adoption. We're going to call the lawyer. You come with us. I was like, oh my God.
Make her feel part of it, special.
Yes. But I just love the picking and choosing. Like, we're a team. No, we're not a team. We're a team. No, we're not.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find this storyline disturbing. I mean, to terminate someone's parental rights like this is usually your parental rights are terminated because you abandon your children or, literally, abandon them.
Yeah.
It, and yet they're still going to have a relationship with him, because remember
Yeah, they still go visit
they
him.
still go visit him in Montana, and it's just it's very uncomfortable. I don't know why they didn't need to do this. They really didn't. They could have
No.
put legal things in place with guardianships or whatever. And, just, I'm sure he would agree. Look, this guy, I don't think he's a monster. If something happened to Robyn, I don't think he would want to rip his kids away from their life and their school and their family. I'm sure he would be cooperative. But she makes him out to be so awful, and she just wants control. She's controlling.
Yeah, and she really sold everyone. She really sold everybody on all of this of like, if something happens to me, these kids are going to go away. Like
you'll never see them again or something.
They've all bought this hook, line, and sinker, especially Kody. And this is where Kody, like Robyn, likes to be seen as the hero. So for him, it's all about, I'm going to fight for these kids and I'm going to get in there and, what kind of father isn't willing to talk to this lawyer and blah, 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 blah. It's like,
yeah, Kody, father of the year. That's really rich, like Kody criticizing.
Well, his whole thing,
his father.
Yeah. Well, Robyn, she of course then has to sit Kody down and say, well, you need to listen to me about these issues. Basically, she's saying you need to listen to me because I know my ex better than you. I know what to do. I know how to manipulate him. I know how to handle him.
I've been doing it for years.
I've been doing it for years. Kody, I've been doing it to you. Don't even realize it. So, and then there's this whole thing of like the fear of the kids finding out that their bio dad wouldn't be willing to fight for them. And then Kody, okay, but no one needs to know. Like, that's not the issue. And then Kody steps up and says, yeah. And then I say, I was willing to fight for you.
This is all to stroke Kody's ego.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
I mean, fight for that. I mean, what is this guy? Robyn took this guy's kids away from him and moved to another state years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some fighting involved in the beginning. But after a while, what is this guy supposed to do?
I don't know. This whole thing it's very disturbing. I mean, how much carnage? We've got the ex, the bio dad, we've got Meri. There's so much carnage along the way to get to where we are here.
Well, yeah, this whole family has just been ripped apart.
Yeah.
Thanks to Robyn and Kody.
Well, they'll be back in a couple weeks, like 3 weeks. 420, baby.
420. All right. Well,
Very
until
exciting.
then, we'll just keep watching these old classics.
Yes. But I want to cover that poly family when that comes on. So we might need to take a break for that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That can interrupt our Sister Wives coverage, our Poly Tuesdays.
Well, they might overlap, those two.
Oh, okay.
Then it'll just be like polygamy all week.
I saw the strangest Instagram post when I was awake last night at 2:00 in the morning of this woman. And it's basically the video is her, she's putting her phone down. She's pregnant. She walks over to her husband. He spins her around and like gives her a kiss. I'm like, okay. I just like to say I've never done any of that ever. I've never done a video like that. So underneath it, she writes this caption about how when you're the one that got picked over your 6 other sister wives for a date night with your husband.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And it was like, it's this very weird, passive aggressive kind of partially like shoving it in your face.
Yeah.
And this is a whole thing I had never thought about in being a sister wife is social media must be hell for these young sister wives. Do you know what I mean? It's like, even, I can't imagine, like, even back in Christine's day or like Janelle and all these women, like, they did not have to see any of this ever, because it wasn't out there.
Well, and these is like a young couple.
Yeah, they're a young couple. She's pregnant. She's like 6-7 months pregnant.
So now there's these young polygamous family influencers. Like,
I think
making content. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and basically saying, "Aren't I lucky?" It was so disturbing. I was like, you could see it in a million different ways. Aren't I lucky to be chosen? But it's also a little bit like, ha ha ha, other sister wives, he picked me. And then I'm thinking, well, you are pregnant. I mean, I don't know. I could see how he felt a little obligated. But the other thought is, and also, is this just your night?
Right.
It's just your
turn. Honey. Right.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
And it just happens to land on a Saturday. And you guys are going out to dinner. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
It was very weird.
Well, yeah, there's definitely something happening with these young women. You know, we talked about the whole trad wife thing, and our Uncle Bill sent us this. I haven't looked into it yet, but something about a magazine for like young conservative women that with, you know, same kind of concept, you know, with there's this magazine. It was called Evie Magazine, a conservative Cosmo. So they got this woman on there. She's all, you know, this beautiful. Anyway, we got to look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know, with that show's coming back, the Real Lives of Mormon Women.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this podcast, if you haven't already, please give us a 5-star rating and review. Those always help us. Please follow the podcast and share it with friends. If you want more content from us, go check out our Patreon. We do a weekly bonus and a true crime and an Ask Us Anything for the higher tiers. So go check us out there. And yeah, follow us on social media and all that good stuff. We're here on Tuesdays doing Sister Wives, and Thursdays this Thursday we're covering the Karen Reed Body in the Snow, the investigation ID. So go check out our other shows.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Say hello to Mia.
Hey there.
Mia runs a pet grooming service in Chicago, but getting new clients was rough.
Until I started using Acast. I recorded my ad, targeted pet owners in the area, and let Acast do the rest. Now people all over the city know about my grooming services.
Mia's business is looking sharp. What's your secret for happy pets and happy clients?
A fresh cut, a friendly vibe, and a well-placed podcast ad.
Get the word out about your business through Acast. Visit go.acast.com/advertise to get started.